Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Gregg and welcome to DocTalks at Align Wellness Center, where we focus on health from the inside out. Today we're going to go over some really interesting things today. We've got a couple of case studies of patients who've been in the office and some of their outcomes. We've got some research that we've recently found out about that's super duper cool, and then some information that we've learned recently that we want to share with you guys today so that you can learn. If you need help with anything spine related or want to just take a step up in your health, feel free to reach out to us. We're always looking to help individuals change their lives and get back to the life they wish they remembered. That must be you already calling, so we appreciate you calling. We'll look forward to helping you as soon as you, Brian and the team, take care of you. But what let's get started with is let's look to get started with that research that I was telling you about. Dr. Luke was sharing with me this study that was fantastic. Would you mind sharing that with all of our friends?
Yeah, so it was looking at 64 patients and using chiropractic biophysics to help restore the cervical lordosis. So what does that mean? So if we look at the spine here, this is the cervical spine that we're talking about, and this lordosis is the curve going this way. And what happens is when we start to lose that curve, we start to shrink the disc heights in between, losing function, increasing pain. But when we use chiropractic biophysics to help restore that lordosis, what happens is we can increase the disc height, reduce pain, and improve function for these patients. So it was really cool to see the improvement with that study. It was a peer-reviewed study as well.
That's amazing. So, Luke, would you mind sharing with me, how does someone typically wind up losing their cervical lordosis?
It can happen either with immediate trauma, car accidents, or it can happen also with just long-term traumas, so the way you sit, your posture, and they can lose that curvature over time.
Oh, so if someone's had a trauma and they're having problems, they probably need to get it checked to make sure they have that.
Absolutely, and sometimes you don't even know that there's an issue there. By the time you have pain, that means that something's already been going on for a while. So it's a lot better to come in beforehand and address it, because it's a lot harder to fix these issues when it's a long-standing problem.
Totally. Now, what I want to jump right into next is a little bit of a case that might match some of that. Now, Dr. Elmer, you were sharing with me a little bit about one of your patients. Why don't you share with our friends all about that?
Yeah, so this morning I had a patient come in. She was getting a re-exam, so when we take their x-rays and we go over them from when they first started to where they are now. When she first started, she had a reversal in her neck, and then after she was doing her homework and her traction here in the office, that reversal that she had in her neck isn't there anymore. Great. And she was also asking, her mom is also a patient here, and her mom has some areas in her neck where the disc isn't there, or she's got some degeneration, and she was wondering if that would also happen to her. And I said, you're on the right tracks, you're doing the right things to prevent that from happening. So she continued care too.
That's super cool. Now, did you, in going through her history, learn or maybe find the trigger that might have caused that reversal in her neck?
Yes, she was an avid soccer player growing up, so lots of headers, and traumas, impacts, things like that.
That must be one of my daughter's friends. My daughter plays soccer, so they may have been watching this, wanting to make sure that they get their neck checked.
Yes, good idea.
Very cool. Now, Brittany, you spent the weekend learning. What did you learn about?
Yeah, so I actually went to the Webster seminar, and so that included not just getting Webster certification, Webster Technique, but also learning a lot about perinatal, so that pregnancy stage and labor and all of that as well. We did a lot of talking about what we're looking for and how we can better help our pregnant patients influence their body and help make sure everything's moving to the best we can to create the ideal and optimal environment for the baby, and how that can help and may help improve labor outcomes and all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool and really interesting about that population.
And what is a big thing that the Webster Technique often gets associated with?
So oftentimes there's discussion about the baby. So with Webster Technique, we aren't directly moving the baby. And so that's often a misconception that is outside of our scope of practice and something that we cannot do. But there's oftentimes that we create the optimal environment in the pelvis for the baby. And that may allow the baby to move in its own way, but we do not have a determination.
Okay, so I'm going to say, because you're looking to be politically correct, oftentimes we have patients who come in and their child is in a breech presentation or the wrong position, the less than ideal position for delivery. And OBGYNs, nurse practitioners that work in that realm, as well as doulas know and look to the Webster Technique as a tool in helping the baby to start to present in a more efficient manner for delivery so that it can be safer and easier for mom, for baby, and for everybody involved. Is that about right? Awesome. Now, for me, one of the cases that I'm going to look to share with you is a patient who came to us. She kind of fits the theme. She started to have problems with lower back pain at age 15. At 15, she was a soccer player, and she did everything she could to try and help with it. She, now 15 years later, had gone through physical therapy, had epidural shots, had thought that she had tried everything, and her doctors were recommending for her to get what's called an ablation. That's where they wind up burning the joints in your lower back to try to reduce the symptoms or pain that you're having. However, it's very evasive, and it winds up causing there to be no receptors that can wind up recognizing where you are in space, so it causes the joints to break down even more. She heard about some of the work that we do, and she came in, and what we found was that her neck was the wrong way. She had a cervical kyphosis, like Dr. Luke was sharing about, and Dr. Emily's case was mentioning. We worked on helping to manage her entire spine, and within weeks, she was out of the lower back pain, first time in 15 years, which was super cool. Now she's at a phase in her life where she's going through a lot of stress. She's getting married. She's got work that's building up and really intense. And she shared with us that she was starting to have the lower back pain again. So at this point in time, what we realized is what she needed to do was support herself a little bit better. And the thing she realized that she needed was a little bit more frequent adjustments to manage the crisis so she could get through all of those other stresses. I'm excited to say that just after a couple of additional visits, she's already feeling better and she's excited about being great. Now, once again, visitors, I want to thank you guys for joining us here and hanging out with us. This is a fun thing that we're going to look to do regularly with you to share a bit about what's going on and to help you guys understand a little bit about what we do, who we do it for, and how we look to help. If you've got questions, feel free to write them down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, or if it connects to someone who you know, can you send it over to them, make sure that they start changing the trajectory of their health. Once again, I'm Dr. Gregg, and guys, you want to say a little goodbye?
Thanks.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.